Hey guys, let's talk about our screens today. Phone screen times and if we're addicted to phones or not. It's an important one. Guys, so who am I? I'm the CEO of Ruka. Ruka is a smart payment ring will allow users tap to pay. What do we use our phones for? A lot of comments I get is always like, hey, I use my phone for payments. Yeah, and that's why I have my phone. So I wanted to spend some time on that and talk about that. And I read into this. I looked into this quickly. Okay, obviously it's my market. So I looked into, is that true? What do we really use our phones for? Okay, what do you use our phones for these days? That's what I want to talk about in this video. So let's talk. So in terms of statistics, I can tell, and this is going to shock you. In terms of statistics, we as a people, as a collective people right now, old, young, and everyone, we spend 99% of our times on screens. 9%. You're watching this on a screen. A phone screen, a computer screen. Our use of screen has gone up significantly from years ago, from 20 to 30 years ago, 50 years ago. If you look at our landscape, like humans, we've been around for billions of years. But also staring into a box or a glass is a new phenomenon for us in our evolution. And yet we're doing it a lot, 99% of the time now is spent on screens. So if you leave this now, you're probably going to go on your computer. If you go on your computer, you're going on the TV. If you go on the TV, you're going somewhere. So you're always on the screen, 99% of our time. That's crazy. That's a huge, like almost scary statistics to look at. Okay. And then the question now becomes, within that time of a screen and phone and computers, what's the percentage split? Here's the point. TVs are now suffering. Believe it or not, most of our time is actually spent on our phones. But 90%, I've got the number on this one as well, 90% of our time on screens are spent on the phone. So you're always on your phone 90% of the time. Then the other 10% is spent on TV, Sky, or football if you watch it on that. But then again, football these days, most people watch it on their phone, believe it or not. YouTube, you're watching it on your phone most likely. Facebook, social media, all of that is mostly on the phone. So 90% of our time is spent on phones. So that's true, I agree. A lot of people, when they come to me and say, hey, I use my phone most of the time, that's true, I agree. The other point is, what are you really using it for? Are you using it for payments as you claim? A lot of people say, hey, I want to use my phone for funds transfer. So your ring can't allow me make funds transfer. It only makes payments. You're right. So that's true. So if you go in to make a payment, you can tap to pay with your ring. Okay. You don't need your phone. You don't need your wallet around. But here's the other point then. Are you really using your phone for payments? So if I stop you on the road right now, what are you using your phone for? Let's look into that. Okay. And again, it's good to know just statistically, right, what you're doing. So I've got numbers on this. 94% of our time. So when you hold your phone, 94% of the time you're actually on social media. That's statistically what it is. Again, there's no victim blaming here. There's no accusatory here. Okay, this is on me as well. It's on everyone. I mean, I'm on social media technically now. So, we spend a lot of time on that. So when we say we're on our phones for payments, it's actually a very small percentage. If for some reason you're not one of those that's the 94%, then well done. Kudos on that. That's only 6% of you. So you're actually in the minority, super minority in the world. If you don't spend 90% of your time on your phone, social media, when you're awake, okay, this is awake time, by the way. Oh, wait, let's talk about that. How much time do you spend on your phone? So we've got 6 hours of the day on your phone. So 6 hours of the day, you're constantly on your phone. 6 hours of 24 hours. That's a third of our life on our phones right now. Guys, don't forget we sleep for 8 hours and then we eat and then you go to work. So within work, sleep, and all that, we still find 6 hours during the day to go on our phones. And of that time is what we're talking about, the 90%. A lot of numbers to think about, but just think about that 94%, right? That's a major thing. That means when you pick up your phone, 94% of the time you're on social media. Okay. Then let's split it down. Okay. How are we splitting that time on social media and what are the others for? Okay. Because we need to know that, right? Social media specifically, and I've got stats on this, you can look this up if you wanted to. Specifically, social media and games, we spend 89%. So when we hold our phones for anything, is mostly for YouTube, TikTok, Netflix, Reddit, and Facebook. They've got the majority share there. Of that, we're holding our time, and then games as well. So that's 90%. That's all social media. Then productivity apps only get 8%. So when you're holding your phone 8% of the time, you're actually doing something productive. And productivity here, just so you know, this is a funny thing. Productivity here covers your calendar, So if you want to look at the place or what you need to go do, you look at the calendar and that's it. A notification just came up. I look at it and that's all I do. That's what most of us do. We look at the calendar. What's the next activity? We go do it. That's very productive. Same thing as well with your email. So you look at your email, read your email, split second, that's you done. So a lot of people that reach out to people by email, you have a second to get their attention. So because most of the attention is on social media. So you get that and then you put it, you check your emails, that's you done. That's productivity as well. I would agree with that. Maps as well. So when you're out in public and you want to know where you're going, you're only spending a very small percentage of your time looking at a map, 8%. So within that time, you have your emails, you check your notifications, you check your maps. That's all you're doing. You check your maps, see where you're going, and then lastly, a phone call. So you can just call the person. Again, and I say this as a seriousness, all right? In all seriousness, if I get a phone call, the phone call better be important. And it's with a lot of people as well. So if we're so busy these days, like someone calls you, put a comment here as well. If someone calls me, I almost get angry that the person called me. I'm like, should you not have emailed me or messaged me? Send me a message. It's quicker. There's no need for the pleasantries. There's no need for the chat. Just go straight to the point. And we are all like that these days. So everyone we don't have the time to waste. We just want to get to the message, get to the point, and we do a lot of messages. But this is called the phone. It should be for phone calls. That's the funny thing. It was invented for phone calls, but hardly do we make phone calls on this. Again, what I'm talking about, the teenagers to young age to about my age and above, so up to 50 years. So that's the majority of people on it, actually. From a teenage age all the way to 50, 55. All those guys, most of our time is on social media, 8 to 9%. 8% is on productivity apps. And then lastly, 3% is on finance. Suffering here. So finance is 3%. That means people that say, I use my phone for payments, that's a very, very small. That's only 3% of the time you use that phone for payments. And those 3% is mostly 0.5% of that time is on transfers. So a lot of people go in and make a huge transfer on their phone. You can do that, okay? And that's 0.5% of the time. So it's not every day you're transferring $1,000 or $2,000 to your landlord. Not every day, or $5,000 for school fees. You don't do that every day. So it's a very, very small, minute percentage of your time is what you spend on social media, on making huge transfers and payments, FXs, trading. All that is just a very small percentage of your time daily. Okay, over the course of a year, how many times do you do that? Unless you're an FX trader or you spend time on trading per se, or you run a business on your phone, then that's productivity. Again, but that's a very, very small percentage of us. Most of us, we whip out our phone, 80% social media, 8% is on productivity, finance 3%. And 3%, again, we're looking at 0.5% on transactions, and 2.5, which is the remaining, 2.5 is on small payments. So tap to pay. So you go on your train, you tap to pay. You buy your coffee, you tap with your phone. Okay, so we're mostly tapping our phones to pay. You want to go for, a restaurant, you tap to pay. You're out on a concert and you're seeing your favorite band, you tap to pay. You go to watch football, you tap to pay with your phone. So we're mostly tapping to pay 2.5% of the time. And that's where we come in, which I was talking to my customers on this. Because then you don't have to tap to pay with this phone. Then all you can do is then tap to pay with this. Why? Because this is your phone. I've just said 90% of your time is based on social media. So if you cut that out, that means you reduce your screen time. Because people ask me, how do you reduce your screen time? This is how you do it. Number one, use your social media. You take down social media as soon as possible. If you take down that 89% you spend on social media, guess where it goes to? It goes to you, because you're not going to spend more time on finance than you already do. Like, if you look at the productivity apps, right? Productivity apps would not go up. So you always spend the X amount of time on your calendar. You can add more activities there, but it's always going to be the same amount, 8% on your calendar. On your emails, it's going to be the same. You're not going to read an email 5 times that you need to. You're always going to read the same emails. If you want to, make a phone call, you're always going to make the same phone call as you would normally do. Maybe spend more time with people you love. You do that, okay? Well, all you can do, and obviously your transactions, you're not going to check your trades. You're doing a trade, you're doing an FX, you're doing a transaction, you've checked it, you're done. If you want to make your payment, you make your payment with your Apple Pay or Google Pay, you save time, right? So instead of going in and tapping or double paying or worrying about if your phone battery is gone, if it's 2%, you're already in trouble. My phone, I'm using my phone here, another phone here. This phone is already on, you see, it's already on 24%, right? So it's gone, right? So I'm nervous and I need to charge this as soon as possible. You don't have to do that because, again, with your phone, with this, you don't have any battery. It's effectively a card on its own. It's a MasterCard. We actually work with MasterCard on this. We also have Visa as well. And this is a health ring, our health ring. So we do health and we do payments. So with this, you can tap to pay where you are. Just tap to pay. That's it. So you don't need battery on these things. That's the point I was trying to make. So what does that mean? That means you can just tap to pay wherever you are. And that's a good way or trick on how to save time. Reduce your 80% and reduce your tap to pay, the reliance on your phone. If you, and then that's the other point I was going to mention as well. If you bring out your phone and then you're paying for coffee, 9 times out of 10, after paying for that coffee, guess what you do next? You go to your notifications. You go on social media. That's where the 80% comes from. Your phone is in your pocket and you have not brought it out for the last 1 hour. Then you're not going to bring it out again. But when you bring it out, you're most likely going to go on social media, which is 80%. That's a good way to cut down those times, okay? If you really, really want to cut down your time on social media, don't bring it out for payments. Use our rings. Use a payment ring. And if you want to cut down your time on social media, use Whoop. I think they've got Whoop or all these health rings as well are also good because they have no screens. So reduce your screen times as much as you can. If you can't, then all you do is you give yourself more time in life. I said already, we're already spending a third of our lives on social media, on screens. If you cut that time, social media don't pay you. So if you cut that time down and say, okay, of that, I'm going to reduce my time on social media, that's for you. You're not going to use more time on payments because you already make your payments anyway. With rings, you make your payments with cash. Any other ways or card, you can make your payments with that. So that saves you time for you, for what you want to do, okay? So that's my point. And if you really want to use your phone, for some reason you always charge your phone, then tap and pay, put it away. Okay, I'm not trying to force you to use a payment ring. You can use a payment ring or use your phone. But if you want to pay with your phone and you make sure it's fully charged, okay, make sure no one's out there, tap to pay. Okay. And the other thing I really want to mention as well is, we've talked about this a lot. So the phone, what does your phone carry? Because people say, I can just tap and pay with my phone. See, here's the statistics that you don't realize. And go in and check this. This is your assignment for everyone on this call, okay? All my followers as well, clearly. And I say this to my staff as well. Guys, check how many pictures you have on your phone and compare it to yourself 10 years ago, compare it to 15, 20 years ago and see how many pictures you had. Now think about that for a minute. So right now I can tell you, I looked at this stat myself. I've got 140,000 pictures. Feeding 140,000. That's like random pictures of me just taking it here or going here or not liking the picture. I take 20 shots and then come back. In fact, I had to download an app to make sure I clean the pictures as well. That's how crazy it is in terms of number of information that you have on this thing, this box. This small box you're carrying around has 140,000 pictures. We talked about finance and apps, right? So again, I've got a lot of, transactions that I do on my phone. I've got a lot of businesses on my phone as well. So this business, for instance, if you steal my phone, that's an issue, right? Immediately I have to block it. I have to call everyone and make sure everything is blocked so nothing goes wrong with my customers as well. So there's a lot of risk of carrying this thing around is where I'm going to. You've got pictures, you've got banking information, you've got your personal information, you've got passport details, you've got a lot of information. If you equate this to what you were carrying around 20 years ago, it'd be like you carrying around your laptop, your library, your life, and everything like this and carrying it around in public. That's what I want us to think about, right? So guys, next time you bring out your phone, look through it and say, this is what I'm carrying here is almost 1 terabyte of information about me and I'm carrying it around in public. It'll be as bad as you carrying around. And I see this, I don't wear watches as well, but clearly if you can't tell, I don't like, again, I get it as gifts, okay? My, partners, banks and all that, I get gifts as well, especially when I got promoted. I got a Rolex, which is cool. Guys, that's a heads up. If you want to promote people, give them gifts like that. But here's the point. So what? You get it and then you go out. But when you go out, you're carrying, you're walking around with 25,000 and calling everyone to that. Yeah. So it's a risk. Or people walk around with Richard Mille. You're walking around with 200, 300,000 on your hands. So you're walking target and this is on your hands where it's harder to steal, okay? But now with this one, you've got this and you're holding it almost like a bar of soap. You're holding it in your fingertips so that people just grab it easily. One grabs that, you're in trouble. I talked about my customer at the start. He grabbed his phone and he was traumatized, I can tell you. I brought this, we came up with this app because one of my friends came to London and he was holding his phone like this and his wallet and then he got stabbed. Just here, right in the lungs, okay? They escaped his lungs, sorry, but it was just to the right of his lungs. It was last Christmas, so he was stuck he was in the hospital for a few months, sorry. And that's a concern, yeah? So we don't want to carry this risk around. That's the issue I have. So when a lot of people come to me and say, well, I can tap to pay with my phone. I'm like, yes, but do you really need to tap to pay with your phone? Like, if that was cash, would you whip out 100,000 worth of cash? Yeah, and then pay £10 to someone? You're not. You're going to put your cash in your pocket, just bring out what you need and pay. That's the same thing with your phone. You don't need to bring out your phone at all. You should not bring out your phone in public, because if you're carrying around this to me, it's almost, if I ask you, what's the value on your phone? That should be the assignment, actually. I say, you know what, if you're watching this video, go around, check and put a number on your phone. How much is your phone worth to you? Is your phone worth $5? All right, then don't worry about it. You can just bring it out, put it on your forehead, put it on your head, whatever you want. No one, if someone takes it, no problem. But I'm telling you, your phone is worth more than you think to you. If your phone is lost, you know how fidgety you get, right, in public. Not talk of you carrying it around. Yeah. So please, guys, be careful. Watch out for carrying your phones around in public. You don't need it in public. Get a payment ring.